Hey guys, this is Richard AC, and just before I talk to you a little bit about the Warrior Forum, just wanted to introduce myself. As you can see here, my name is Richard AC, and been online for a while now. I'm not one to really be out there in the public, but and I'll explain to you why I feel like coming back and really helping the newbies and the beginners. But I've been online now for quite some time. 30th of July 2009, it was when I joined the Warrior Forum, and this is when you had a lot of big names back then who are huge today and who have built multi-million dollar empires online. They got started, a lot of them started here. You have guys like John Thornhill, who does a very good coaching program. He was right here in the Warrior Forum. I think he still is. I mean, if you search his name, I'll see if I can find him. I'll show you. There's a bunch of guys who all started here in the Warrior Forum, who are all now very big names, have very big businesses. And this is where I got started when I wanted to learn how to earn a living online. It was like going to university. It was like getting my bachelor and my master's all together again. Very, very interesting. And I wanted to share just a quick story of my journey so far, just to encourage some of you who are beginners, some of you who are just getting online, or some of you who are struggling. And just wanted to encourage you with this story. Just bear with me for a minute. Before I got started online, I've been doing business for quite some time, and before I got started online, I was in Chicago, and with a partner of mine, we subscribed to Fortune and Forbes magazine back in the day, and we were part of a group of people, a group of businessmen and entrepreneurs who really believed in developing oneself and pushing one's potential to the maximum. And one of the things that we learned from our mentors back then was everything starts with your mindset. It doesn't start with the tip, the trick, the skill, or the competence. Everything starts with your mindset. And that's why we used to read a lot. Who Moved My Cheese, David Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big, Psycho-Cybernetics, Napoleon Hill, all these different business books, Stephen Covey, and all the different habits of the successful, just modeling and seeking out patterns that we could really implement. That made a difference. That really made a difference in the way we saw ourselves, in the way we saw opportunity, where people saw problems, in the way we pushed through things. And so what happened was that one day, my partner and I, since we had subscribed to Forbes magazine and Fortune magazine, in the Fortune magazine, we read an article. And in this article, it said, it was giving like a graphic and giving, it was well researched, and it said that what they had come up with in terms of like statistics and data was that the average African American family that earned a certain amount of income would spend about 60 to 65% of that income on clothing and on jewelry and on different types of accessories. So my partner and I, we were black, right? I'm originally from Cameroon, in Central Africa, and my partner was from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago. So we were like the odd ones out because we met at DeVry University there in Chicago, and also when we were hanging out in Keller. That's where we met. And so it was very interesting for us to just sort of discover this whole entrepreneur world and find out, what made these successful people tick how did it become so successful? And that's how we started, exchanging and during the coffee breaks and during the different projects that we had to work together. That's how we got close, and that's how we actually got to connect. They say birds of the same feather, they flock together. It's like who you choose to become is how you're going to attract the right people into your life. And those things may sound very like, oh, but what does that have to do with me making money and paying my bills? It has everything to do with it. It has absolutely everything to do with it. So when we started to talk, we started to discuss, what we realized was that we had a common goal, common objectives, and we wanted to of course become successful entrepreneurs, but we also wanted to have an impact. And that is the key. When you get to that place where you want to be able to impact people beyond just making money, but really bring value and help people, what that will create is it will cause a gravitational pull towards you. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. And what ended up happening was that, so we read this article and we now decided to say, hey, you know what, let's explore this. I mean, it says that there's a market here. While we were in university with this friend of mine, we connected while we were in university doing our studies and everything, and we started reading, and we were subscribed actually to two magazines. It's the first magazine is called Fortune magazine, and the other magazine is called Forbes. So for those of you who know, these are like the big magazines that talk about money, business, wealth management, etc., and so forth. So this is where you have like the Forbes, richest and so forth. But anyway, apart from giving the world's richest people, they have a lot of very interesting articles, and you'll be amazed at how much value you can actually find from just reading, Forbes magazine or Fortune magazine. I mean, they have articles that give you statistics on market trends, that give you statistics on where they think the market is going to go. So it's like they've done the work for you. They've done the research for you. And this is like solid stuff. I mean, you know that money has been put in there for research and for development. So you know that whatever is coming out there is backed by facts and data. And if you've been doing online marketing for a while, you're going to realize that when you're dealing with traffic, you're dealing with addressing your market and having a relevant customer avatar, which means you know exactly what their pain points are, you know exactly who they are, what they are, what they want, then you know exactly how to address them. And that's what happened to us. We started reading these magazines. We're subscribed to both Fortune and Forbes, and we fell on this article in the Fortune's magazine. And this article said, and I can't remember the exact quotation, but the general idea was giving us statistics of African American families that lived in certain neighborhoods in all across America, and they were giving even like the actual income bracket and what they spent their money on, and it was like incredibly detailed. And in that report, they mentioned the fact that most African Americans at the time when they were doing this report, they were saying that 60 to 65% of the income earned by these African Americans would go for clothing, would go for jewelry, would go for accessories and so forth. And it even went ahead to specify, some of the clothings and some of the things that they would spend money on. So obviously, they had access to credit card information to be able to come up with that kind of specific information. It makes you wonder, what else don't they know about us? Big Brother is watching, right? So based on those facts, we said, wait a minute, there is an interesting market here. That market has an income bracket that has a significant buying power, so we can actually tap into that market and see, and let's explore. And that's how we started. Let me tell you how we started. We started off simply by going over to these rich neighborhoods in Chicago. Went to Burr Ridge, we went to Oak Brook, we went to a whole bunch of different neighborhoods that had some of the people who were a lot better off than the average middle class working man or woman in the Chicago area. And what we would go looking for was for what they would put outside. They had days when, you could put stuff that you're not using out. So we would go and look for, like, people who had like old TVs and old microwaves, and not really old. It's like, a new model comes out and they don't want the old. And for them it's old, but for us it was new. So at that time we would take that and we would go back to our neighborhoods and do garage sales. And it was based on the money generated from these garage sales that we would now go to New York. So what ended up happening is we went to New York to go and find out how we could get in contact with wholesalers who could sell us a few articles just to test the market. I mean, I'm telling you this story and I hope you're tracking with me so you can see where I'm going with this. So we're testing the market. So we're not going full out just to go say, oh, the article said that, African Americans of this particular income bracket, spend their money on this and that. So we went ahead and the first thing we started with was Timberland boots. For those of you who don't know what Timberland boots are, let me just see if I can pull that up. Hang on one second. So we started with Timberland boots, and we started to do our research, and we realized that there were several stores that were selling like African American apparel all across the suburbs and everything. And we saw that they were profitable, and we said, okay, now that there's profit, we know that this is something that's actually it's a viable business model. Let's see how we can tap into that. So we started traveling to New York and getting articles in bulk, in wholesale quantities, bringing them back, and how do we even start there? We didn't even have the money to go to New York to go and get this, to travel there, pay the ticket, and then find the wholesalers. We had no clue what we were doing. We started off with the garage sales. We went to a very wealthy neighborhood. We went to all of the wealthy neighborhoods in the Chicago area. We went to Burbage, we went to Oak Brook, we went to all these different neighborhoods where people were putting out their stuff that they didn't want to use anymore, TVs, the flat screens or whatever, computers. We took all of that stuff and then came on a Saturday and did a garage sale. You have to be resourceful. I mean, if you have a clear objective and you want to get somewhere, most of you who are like starting out, you're probably going to have some kind of limitation that says, well, I don't have money, so I can't do anything. I don't have money to pay for this course. I don't have money to pay for that. And I'll get to the whole issue about courses and trainings later on. But we started doing these garage sales to raise the money that we needed to be able to start this particular project. And so we did garage. We would take our cars. Sometimes our cars would break down, and we were taking like microwaves and all kinds of stuff. And then our garage sales, everybody knew that we would come up with some good stuff, and we would go around throughout the week just passing out flyers. Come to our garage sale, and people would come and they would buy, and we would just sell those things for like peanuts. We got them for free anyway. We paid just gas money to go pick that thing up and bring it to our garage. But that's how we got started. And when we started bringing these, we started with Timberland boots. That's how we started off. We started with just the simple things. Timberland boots. We were thinking big. We're like, we're going to get this store, and it's going to be like this. But you can't think about that. If you overanalyze, then you enter into a state of paralysis of analysis. Then you don't do anything. So we just started with the thing that we could start with was Timberland boots. So we went to New York, got yellow, red, blue, red, yellow, whichever order you want to put them in, and we came back and we put them in duffel bags and we went to where the market was, and we knew that Timberland boots would sell because we had found out that these are the things that everybody wants. All of the youngsters or some of the older guys, they all wanted some Timberland boots, and the market has to tell you what the market wants. It wasn't for us to sort of like think up whatever we thought that the market needed and then try to sell that to the market. It doesn't work that way. So these same principles are applicable online. I'm going to get to that. But we had to go out to the market, get what the market wanted. And the market said, right now, what's hot are Timberland boots. So we go to New York, we get the Timberland boots, we come back, we go to the same guys who said Timberland boots. So we go, we had 2 or 3 contacts. We didn't have like a huge market, just like 2 or 3 people. And so we went up, you would go up like a 50-story building, no elevator, or the elevator is not working, and you're just going up and sweating and dripping, and you get there and you're soaked, and you pull out the Timberlands, and the guy buys like 4 or 5 pairs at the same time, and then he tells his friends and so forth. And so word starts going out that, these guys, I mean, they are hungry. I mean, they're really making a difference. And so what ended up happening was that we now started to draw attention, and people started talking. And as we started to make a little bit of profit, in every profit that we made from the sale of these Timberland boots, we went back to New York, bought some more Timberlands, came back, and then asked them, what else do you want? They would tell us, the market tells you what the market wants, then you go back and you get what it was, and you come back. So we did that a couple of trips, and then we started having more requests for more specific things. And then the next thing you know, we're coming out with outfits and accessories and belts and watches and jewelry and all that kind of stuff. And so as we were doing that, there was this one very successful entrepreneur who had exactly the same kind of store that we were dreaming of having. And he had one of those shops that was really, really, really good. And it was really, really profitable. And he had all of the different brands that we knew that were very hot at the time. And I mean, his store was always full. And so he eventually heard about us, and he called us up for a meeting. And so we went to his office, and he's like, guys, you guys are doing an excellent job, and I've heard about what you guys do. You guys are hustling, you guys are really working hard, and here's what I have to propose. And he goes on to say, well, you guys can sell for me, and I will give you a very generous commission. I mean, you have to understand, back then we were barely getting by. And so this offer was like a breath of fresh air. And and I remember we were sitting down with my partner, and we said, let's think about it. And we went back out, and we were like, this guy, he's got all the goods, and he's got the credibility, he's got the reputation. I mean, the fact that we're going to be connected to him is going to give us even more visibility, and this is our breakthrough. This is what we've been waiting for. But as we began to think about this, we realized that, but if we get locked in here, because we knew that there was a way for us to set up shop by ourselves and do things a little bit differently, because the way he was doing things, there were certain things that were very uncomfortable about, with. So we went back, and we turned that whole thing down, okay? And we said no, thank you. And he was looking at us like almost like what? Are you turning down my offer? But we said thank you, and we knew also not to burn any bridges. So we were not like rude or anything. We just said, well, you know what? We're kind of working on something else, but it's really, really awesome what you provided for us. And so we continued, and so we turned down the possibility of making a quick buck right there and then for a bigger vision. Are you getting me? You see where I'm going with this? Let me stop here, and I will continue this. I don't want to make these videos too long, but let me stop here, and I will continue this story in part 2, and it gets very interesting. So just stick around. And we went to New York, and we simply just, we went for blue, yellow, and green, I think. And those are the boots that we decided to buy. And we bought a whole bunch of those boots, and we bought these boots in different colors and brought them back to Chicago and started selling these boots door to door. And you will be amazed at we had some of these boots like in red, in yellow, and in every different color you can possibly imagine over time. But to start off, it was like red, green, and yellow. So we ended up having a clientele that was really fond of our boots. So we started being like the Timberland boots specialists, and we just kept on, buying and bringing and all the profit that we made sure that we reinvested that into developing even more colors, testing more colors. But at the end of the day, we realized that the red, the blue, and the regular yellow were the colors that really worked for us, and that's what we ended up buying. So we bought Timberland boots for like pennies on the dollar in New York at a wholesale price. Would come back to Chicago and would sell them for regular prices. Of course, here you're seeing the price here in euros because I'm in Europe, but that's what ended up happening. But before I continue, let me break here, and we will continue the story in the next video in part 2. Give you replies. The people who've been here for years. Somebody's talking about I'm giving up after 11 years, and then he has 114 replies. I think I even replied in one of those, just sort of encouraging the guys and saying don't quit, not yet. What's going on? How to make your 10,000 your first month. I mean, none of this stuff is like paid for. You just go and you read from people's experiences. Like somebody said what I would do if I were to start all over again. Just by staying in this particular place and just reading, just make it your place just to read and create relationships. Now that's the second thing I was going to do. I was going to say, you have to be in a place where you are surrounded by like-minded people who are also looking for the same thing that you are, who are going through the same challenges, who are going through the same processes, the same journey, and you can exchange. I've built some excellent relationships in the Warrior Forum till today, because when you start commenting, when you start saying stuff, I mean, people write back to you, people, they PM you, and you build relationships, and those relationships become like joint ventures. For example, in here, you have internet marketing, you have beginners area, you have war room. War room is where you have like the experts and the guys who've been there for a while. I'm a war room member myself, and you go in there and you meet the guys, and I mean, these guys pour out all kinds of different wisdom and tips and tricks and just things that they had to go through that saves you years and years of frustration and energy and money wasted. You have for example, the Mind Warriors. This is where I love coming here, because for me everything starts right there, because we talk about the real things that are blocking you, the self-sabotage mechanics that are stopping you from from thinking bigger than what you're thinking right now, from developing a strategy as a businessman rather than as an opportunity seeker. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that is here on this Warrior Forum. There's you don't want to go into all these different like growth hacking and all that kind of stuff. Not for now. For now, you just want to if there's any skill that you're going to need in internet marketing, if I have to highlight one that you're really going to need to market your stuff, copywriting. Traffic is going to come. Traffic, you can work your butt off and get traffic, free traffic. Copywriting is a skill. And if you learn the art of copywriting, I mean, there's a whole copywriting forum in here. The John Carltons, the Gary Albert, all these different guys, their stuff is on there for you to just go and learn. I downloaded all of the Gary Albert's newsletters. I mean, incredible. Anyway, so that's the Warrior Forum. And so I just wanted to talk to you about that so you can explore that. That's another resource for you to not only come and, I know many of you maybe who are already doing affiliate marketing, you're like, oh, I can go and, post my link in there. Or you guys just going in there and then into forums and just posting your link. I'm not sure you're getting any form of sales, or if you're getting any sales, they're very minimal. Because nowadays everybody does that. You need to stand out from the crowd. You need to be unique. The new brand is you. Okay, so if you come into this forum, what I recommend, and I highly recommend, is that you read and give value. You're going to create some awesome relationships, and you can create a community, create like-minded people, and you can get tips, you can get different strategies right here. There's documents, there's free PDFs. You could probably here things are a little bit more structured. That's my point of view. Maybe you might come here. One thing I'll tell you to avoid is don't go to the marketplace. If you go to the marketplace and you start buying the Warrior special offers, you're going to find yourself buying all day long, because these guys have some incredible sales letters, and this is where you get taught of how to do market research, how to find the pain points for your market, how to really dig deep into the pain points, into the dreams, into who your avatar is for your market. And they talk to you in your language like they're talking to you. So that's why I was talking about learning the skill of copywriting, and you can do that all here in the Warrior Forum. So I hope this has been helpful for some of you. I really wanted to come sort of give back to the newbies. Feel free to reach out to me. I have several programs that I have also for newbies, but this video is not about that. It's more about just giving you different things that you can use, different spots, different areas. And this personally for me was a big help. Being here in the Warrior Forum was a great help. It still is. I have relationships, like I said, that were forged right here, and inspiration also came right here, and sometimes critique also came right here. And this is where many people don't like the Warrior Forum, and everybody to each his own. But I personally have a good experience with the Warrior Forum. So if you're not a member yet, or if you're a member you're not active, I encourage you to really make the most of this forum. You have years and years of experience in here. You have the guys like John Thornhill, who has a successful coaching program, who got his start here. You have the John Rees used to be here as well. All these guys, you get stuff from Dan Kennedy in here, some of his students, who hang out here as well. Basically, you have everything in here. And so that was, I hope this video wasn't too long, but that's sort of what I wanted to leave with you guys, and I hope this is really helpful for you. So again, just keep pressing forward. Don't give up. Just put your head down and don't go for the quick fixes. 90 days is not long. 120 days is not long. 365 days is not long. You want to be able to put a strategy in place that 365 days from now, which may feel like it may feel like an eternity, but trust me, time flies by so fast, and you could find yourself spinning your wheels for the next 2 years if you don't develop something. Remember, the new brand is you. Talk to you guys later.